Rise of the Rebellion. It is not uncommon in the course of human events, after a reasonable amount of time, does a considerable summation of wealth begin to divide the populace. We are seeing the division of class, masked by failed narrative as the division of race and gender, through this broken narrative path that is being shoved down our throats from the mainstream media propaganda machine. We find significant clarity in the fact that the actions of the 1% ruling class directly have causality over the remaining 99% of the population. Rising tension, fueled by policies that seek to degrade the American spirit and isolate segments of the population, serve as a beacon, a call to action. Resistance against the establishment. There is a great historic context of reference for what is occurring. A broad stroke and redesign of the fundamentals of a sovereign nation, being replaced by an authoritarian model of global conglomerate. Loss of human liberty. Inherent rights bestowed upon us from God are being replaced by gross restriction from the ruling class. It has already begun. Resistance. Resistance to the narrative. Resistance to the imperial will of the establishment. By commencing in a direct assault on our livelihoods, morality, civil and moral values have caused great anger, frustration, and degradation amongst the population. The actions of the establishment are not sustainable. We, as a sovereign people of a free nation, must consolidate the immense power of our voice and force of will to broadcast loudly to our opposition. This is a path you will not take. This is a point in which you cannot return. We must be vocal. We must be active. We must display resounding continuity of message. The establishment must be declared persona non grata and revoked by citizens of a free nation. We must not allow America to fall. This is our calling, our sense of duty, acknowledgement that the nation, its sovereignty, traditions, and moral virtues of more importance than ourselves. Throughout our history, there have been periods that demand a call to action from the populace, inherent resolve and determination in the confrontation of oppression. If any successful American campaign against tyrannical forces is to be executed, such will and concentration of the peoples of this great land serve as a call to action against an oppressive regime. Reunification of a nation in line with the founders' intended design. Freedom in its most basic concept. Removal of the scope of repressive policy and financial oversight control mechanisms. Patriotism and love for country. The calling to serve for the betterment of a free people. When a corrupt system disregards the will of a people and becomes a tyrant on American life, the people must remove the tyrants and replace the government. The most frustrating question, as of still unanswered, how do you hold elected officials accountable for their actions when the entire system is against you? To this, there is no clear-cut path, uncharted terrain conceptualized by the founders based off their experiences. There is no clear-cut answers, but the federal system is restricting liberty in unprecedented ways. and that is not the America I want my children and their children to grow up in. We must find the path forward to restore the Republic, or I fear that all outcomes will inevitably lead to war. We are already witnessing the rise of the rebellion.